Good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn, and welcome to my world. It's the 7th of October, which is a Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, where I come on every day, or I try to come on every day. Let me put it that way, and kind of get the lay of the trading land for us this morning. Overnight, I wanted to show you a couple things on my charts, which is why I really wanted those up. But it looks like overnight crude oil just was in a real tight range, whereas the indices, after they went up so much, backed off a little bit, and now it looks like they might be on their way up. Anybody who is trading the currencies or likes to trade those currency pairs, gold this morning has gone up, and the Aussie dollar and gold tend to trade together, and the Aussie dollar has trended up for several hours. So gold looks like it might be joining the crowd with that one. Everything else is kind of looks to me like it's trying to wake up this morning. We still have the VIX. It closed yesterday just below 20, which is a good thing. And one of the wonderful things is in our trading land, or certainly in my world, is Brent. Brent just a couple hours ago hit a high of 53, and that is that's a very good indication for what we trade West Texas. To hopefully it'll hold what it's done today. We're going to have the inventory report out at 10:30. If you are just trying to learn crude oil, normally every Wednesday morning at 10:30 the inventory report comes out, and it normally will rock the price of oil. The drawdowns have been a little more, I believe, than they anticipated, so we'll see how the market responds to that. A reasonable person would think that it would send the prices even higher because of the drawdown in the inventory, and it's significant from the last inventory report, but crude oil is notoriously a little weird. So do not be putting on a crude oil trade right at 10:30 this morning, because if you get on the wrong side of the street with that bus driver, he'll run over you and flatten you. I want to go over the couple things on these charts that I thought I'd point out because they're worth looking at. If you've paid attention to the way I trade, I pay very close attention to these range channels. They are significantly accurate, and the bus driver has great respect for them. But look at now these are 60-minute range channels, and look at this. This had to be about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. These little tiny range channels, this is one of the things that is significantly different about Apex than other charting systems, because these bars are not based on time. It is market and price action. So when you see these little tiny squished up range channels, it took a whole hour and absolutely nothing happened. It had to be very thick paint drying right there. So these are used not only to determine what the highs and the lows of the expected highs and lows of the next hour are, but you can get at a glance how fast things might have moved up until the time you sat down. Another thing I wanted to point out to you is on this, let me get the where's the pointer. If you are trading strictly trend catcher entries, as most of you know, I like to use Trendcatcher for an entry confirmation, but I do not take every entry that Trendcatcher puts up, and this is a perfect reason why. Perfect. This Trendcatcher that came up about 8 o'clock, I guess, or 5 minutes after 8, or whatever time this is, this one right here, that corresponds to this bar right here. And as you watch this, it appeared at first that this bar may be wanting to push off of this deviation and the EMA. Because if that's all you looked at, that's what a reasonable person would think. However, when you double check that to confirm your entry, yes, you got a confirmed entry. Well, wonderful. What's the problem with taking this entry? The problem is you do not have this trend flip here. It's telling you this is still in a down, the pink. Do not be taking a northbound entry straight into this pink right here, because it's not going to work out well for you. The same thing on the other side. Don't be trying to go south right here. I mean, if there was, into this green, because it hasn't flipped yet. You have to get the general lay of the land before you make a decision on taking a trade. But the volume came in here, and this continued right on down. So the other thing I would tell you is that you want to wait until maybe the second bar has formed, because this tiny little, tiny little bitty bar on this 5 minute, it's the old, no wait, this is corresponding to the new 519. It's just continuum bars. This tiny little bar in here also tells you that there may be a whole lot of nothing right in this area, and there's no sense taking a trade and then sitting there making yourself crazy and fooling around and then scaring yourself half to death and get out, and then it goes in your direction. Also, if you, I have to find, where's my mouse? If you look over here at this 30-minute, you'll see right there that the 30-minute candle was red. And remember, these change. The most likely time for a direction change or a continuation is at the top and the bottom of the hour. So pay attention to that. If you notice, there's block selling coming in here, 23 contracts of crude oil and 51 contracts. These are significant amounts. If you are using the Trendcatcher, I strongly urge you, especially for today, especially, right-click on this, go to Properties, and set the Block Trade Alert as well as the filter size up from 1 and whatever it is, because the onesies and the twosies in crude oil are not going to move the market. Those are the little people like us. It's the big guys, what the big boys trade, when they put in these massive contracts or massive numbers of contracts. That's what's going to move the market. So mine is set to 20 on a block size and 5 on a contract. People that trade 5 or more crude oil contracts, they can move the market, because many of them that do that are not trading 5. They're trading 30, and they just sit there and have their system set to 5 contracts and hit 5 6 times. Bam, bam, bam. So keep in mind that that also occurs, and it's normal. So we'll see. And yesterday we had a great day with a terrific bus driver. I loved that bus driver yesterday. So we'll see if this drifts off, which it could do, but we are well above settlement here. Settlement's way down here. And settlement, this is just amazing, is right there at that mega magnet, just 3 ticks above it. So having said all that, as you know, this is my view in my world at Apex Land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll be back at noon. Happy trading until then. Be careful at 10:30 with crude oil. And thanks.